So, you're ready to turn your awesome new Raspberry Pi 5 into a serious Wi-Fi pen testing rig? It's an incredible little machine for sure. But there's a classic hardware trap that can literally sink your entire weekend. Don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to sidestep it.
If you've ever been there, hunched over a keyboard for hours, following guides to the letter, typing every command perfectly, only to have nothing, absolutely nothing work, well, this story probably hits a little too close to home. The thing is, the problem usually isn't you, it's your hardware. And that exact frustration is what we're going to solve today.
Okay, so what is this trap I'm talking about? Well, it's that super convenient, very capable looking Wi-Fi chip that's already soldered right onto your Raspberry Pi 5. Now, don't get me wrong, the Pi itself is a powerhouse, but when it comes to the very specific, kind of aggressive demands of security auditing, that built-in radio is almost always the real source of the fight. And this, right here, is the absolute core of the problem. That onboard Wi-Fi, it's designed to do one job really, really well. Get you online smoothly. It's polite. It wants to connect to your network, stay connected, and, sip power. It is just not built for the aggressive and, let's be honest, kind of rude behavior that pen testing tools demand. You can really see that conflict laid out here. On one side, you've got your normal, polite Wi-Fi, which is all about being stable and saving power on one network. And on the other side, monitor mode. It's the complete opposite. It's trying to sniff all the raw data, it's constantly jumping between channels, and it needs full, consistent power. They're just two totally different jobs, and trying to force one to do the other is just a recipe for a headache. So when you try to make this polite little chip do a very rude job, you start seeing some very specific and frankly maddening symptoms. I bet some of this is going to ring a bell. If you've seen these before, just take a deep breath. It's not you, it's the chipset. When your interface says it's in monitor mode but then just silently flips back, or it gets glued to one channel and refuses to hop, that's a hardware limitation. But the most deceptive one is what I call empty confidence. The system acts like it's working. It even creates a capture file for you, but it's totally empty. These are the telltale signs. Okay, so if the built-in Wi-Fi is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's actually beautifully simple. You just need a good external USB Wi-Fi adapter. This is, without a doubt, the single most important upgrade for building a reliable pen testing lab on your Pi. And here's the absolute key, the one thing you have to remember when you go shopping. For a moment, just ignore the flashy brand names. Ignore the 5-star reviews from people just checking their email on Windows. For what we need to do, the only thing that matters is that tiny little piece of silicon inside, the chipset. The chipset and its Linux driver support, that's everything. As you can see here, you're usually pretty safe with the Atheros AF9K family. That's kind of the old, reliable workhorse of the Linux world. Some of the MediaTek chipsets are also fantastic. But what's probably more important is what to avoid. If a seller on Amazon won't even tell you what chipset is inside, that's a massive red flag. Same goes for any adapter that needs you to install some fragile, custom driver from a random GitHub page. Just stick to what's known and what's stable. And this just says it all, doesn't it? You could be the most talented security researcher in the world, with the best commands and techniques, but you just cannot force a piece of hardware to do something it was never, ever designed to do. Having the right tool for the job is completely non-negotiable. So before you hit that Buy Now button, just run through this quick mental checklist. Number 1, does the listing actually name the chipset? 2, are there any recent reviews from other Linux or Kali users? 3, does it support the band you actually want to test? And 4, is the seller reputable, or are they known for silently swapping out the internals? If the answer to any of these is no, just close the tab. Trust me, it will save you hours of pain. All right, fast forward. Your new adapter has arrived in the mail. Awesome! But how do you know for sure that you made the right choice? Well, you don't just plug it in and hope for the best. You run it through what I call the monitor mode gauntlet. It's a simple, structured pass or fail test to prove your hardware is up to the task. There are just 3 gates to pass. Gate number 1, does it go into monitor mode? And more importantly, does it stay there? Gate 2, can it hop channels reliably without getting stuck? And gate 3, the final boss, are your capture files actually filling up with real data? If it can pass all 3 of these gates consistently, every time, you've got a winner. And this is so important to understand. Just because your terminal prints out the words monitor mode enabled doesn't actually mean it's working properly. That's just text on a screen. Real success, true success, is seeing the adapter behave correctly, consistently, and repeatedly. Behavior is the only proof that counts. Okay, now let's imagine you did everything right. You got the perfect adapter, it flew through the gauntlet, but you're still getting these weird, random disconnects in the middle of a session. What's going on? Well, it's time to hunt for the hidden stability killers, these subtle environmental factors that can sabotage even a perfect setup.
Yeah, this is the classic symptom, right? You start a capture, everything looks great, and then poof, the interface just vanishes. Gone. So why does that happen? Let's take a look at the prime suspects.
9 times out of 10, it's going to be one of these three things. An inadequate power supply is the #1 killer, hands down. The Pi 5 is hungry for power, and an underfed Pi will start shutting down peripherals to survive. Next up is radio frequency noise from the Pi's own USB 3.0 ports, which can seriously mess with 2.4 gigahertz signals. And finally, good old heat. If that Pi gets too hot, it throttles its performance and everything gets unstable.
This little story is just perfect because it shows you how sensitive the system can be. The tiny little power spike from just opening a new browser tab was enough to push the system over the edge, and the USB adapter was the first thing to get cut off. It wasn't some weird driver bug. The Pi was just plain running out of juice. This is why you always use the official, high-quality power supply. And for that USB noise problem, here's a wonderfully simple, practical, and cheap tip. A short little USB extension cable can solve a whole world of mysterious instability issues. Just physically moving the Wi-Fi adapter a few inches away from the Pi's electrically noisy ports can dramatically improve its performance, especially on that crowded 2.4 gigahertz band. So as we start to wrap this up, I really want to leave you with this philosophy. The goal here is not to get lucky and have things work just once. The goal is to build a reliable, repeatable lab environment. You want a setup that just works every single time, so you can focus on the actual learning, not on debugging your own gear. So let's just quickly recap the 4 keys to success. First, stop fighting the built-in Wi-Fi. It's the wrong tool for the job. Second, choose your external adapter based on its chipset, not its brand. Third, validate that choice with the 3-gate gauntlet to prove it actually works. And finally, lock in that stability by managing your power, your potential for USB noise, and the heat. And that really brings us to the end. So I'll leave you with this question. Based on everything we just talked about, what's the one thing you can do right now to make your setup more reliable? Whether that's hopping online to research a better adapter, or maybe just ordering the proper power supply, taking that one small step is how you build a lab that truly works for you instead of against you.